Okay, we're recording live.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for checking out this show today. Today, we have a very special guest, a longtime friend of the family. We're going to chat about his big aha moment, the power of positive thinking and incorporating gratitude into our daily lives. Please welcome Paul Hardman. Paul, how are you doing today? It's so good to see you, man.
It's yeah. As I was saying to Nigel here, that I'm a little tired. I got a new puppy. His name's Bo, and I think I sent a picture to Nigel, but he's not a puppy anymore. He's getting bigger and bigger. And he came into bed with me last night, but he's horrible. He snores like and then he's keeping me up. He's just a horrible bedmate. Steals all the covers, whimpers away. That's it. I'm not sleeping with him again. So
worse than your wife. My gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Yeah. What's the deal? Like everybody's getting puppies.
I think it's called the COVID puppy thing. Yeah.
Like our neighbor, like my buddy Sean and Michelle, they got a little I don't know what it's called. It's a little Australian Shepherd or something. He's all multi-patch colors and he's got one blue eye. He's like this big and he's same thing. He's just like kind of terrorizing them. You know, the kids are all gone and now they got these dogs. I'm like, oh, ours is old. Like our dog. Hey, Devin's Kaya's 12.
Yeah.
She does is stare at leaves and bark, you know. So she runs outside, sees a leaf fluttering in the wind, just barks. And I'm like, oh, she's driving me mental. It's crazy. Oh yeah. So yeah, Paul's been a dear lifelong friend. We've known each other since elementary school, probably like grade 1 or something. You know, we played soccer together forever on a couple of different teams, right? And and then high school, we went to high school together, and then we all grew up in the same area, called ourselves the Eagle Harbor Gang. And we're kids run ragged, in the kind of out in the bush there and kind of raising hell, right, in the neighborhood. So it's been yeah. And now we're 50. We're 59. We're the same age, turning 60 next year.
It's coming on.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm embracing it though. I'm just going for it.
Yeah, I feel really good too. I feel really good, like getting into like some of these routines in the morning, getting up and doing all this stuff that I'd never done before because of this COVID, and I feel great. But it was like I don't know, it was like 2 years ago, before COVID and whatnot. We do a boys' weekend. Hey, Paul, we do a boys' weekend everywhere. You got a cabin on Valdez Island, and we get a ferry to Salt Spring Island here on the west coast of Canada. Here we get a ferry, and then Paul has his truck, and we drive all the way to the far tip of Salt Spring Island, and a guy in a landing craft comes and picks us up with all of our beer, mostly beer and stuff.
Yeah, and then, shout out to Dan White, just a great guy.
Dan, yeah.
I mean, he lives on this little island with his wife and his daughter, who's just graduated from high school. Yeah. And I was talking to him. I said, "How did COVID go for you?" And he goes, "It didn't change my life at all. I didn't go anywhere."
Dan would show up. He shows up with his little landing craft. We load everything on, and then we wind our way through all the islands. Right? It's just beautiful. And then we get to Valdez Island. We climb out. He kind of goes up, noses up against the rocks, drops his bow, and when we load everything off, and then he disappears. He does come back sometimes.
We're like storming the beaches of Normandy, and
I know.
But the sad thing is, we have beers and
and
all our medicines and
beers and music and a bag of shrimp.
Oh yeah.
But so we've been doing this for years and years and years with all of our other really just great friends. There's sometimes there's 8 of us, sometimes there's 6 of us, and it was about a week before we were supposed to go. Like we usually go in June, I think, right? Yeah. And so it was a week before we were gonna go, and I'm just kind of in the house here, and then I get a phone call, and it's one of your daughters. I can't remember if it was Grace or Olivia. Called me, and she goes, "Hey Nigel, I've got some difficult news for you." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, what's going on?" And he says, "Well, my dad, Paul's had a massive stroke, and he's in the hospital." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean? Like, that's not possible. Like Paul, out of all of us, would be the guy that would not have the stroke. Like, he was always very, or you're always very, fit and played soccer still, to this day and everything. I thought that's just like inconceivable. It's inconceivable,
Well,
right?
and as I was going to say, I mean, my life was cruising along there, and then just this
Yeah.
freak thing happened to you, or happened to me. Just I
Yeah.
had what was called a artery dissection, which is
Right.
basically your artery has these different layers, and my layers separated.
Yeah.
And as your body tries to do it tries to heal itself, and so the blood comes through and it clots.
All
And a
right.
clot went right up to my brain, and I was actually having a shower, getting ready for going to a wedding, and I
Yeah.
just
Oh,
dropped. It was like Hulk Hogan put me in a kind of a sleeper hold, and I just dropped down.
shit.
And the next thing I know, I'm being rushed into a hospital and spent 8 days in ICU, and then another 6 weeks in the hospital. And boy, that was
Yeah. And there was another scary moment there in the middle of the night because we were all
yes,
sitting up waiting for news, and
yeah,
then something else, some other horrible thing happened.
yeah,
And they were
exactly,
like, well, it's not looking, and we're like, oh God, like what the heck, and
yeah.
yeah, and it was
No,
just, it was just
what
a,
had happened was another clot
whew,
had started gone up to my brain again, and so I started kind of shutting down. And they had to do this emergency procedure. They went up through my femoral artery, which is
yes.
amazing, just like be thankful, right? Thankful in the time that this
Yeah.
didn't happen in the 1920s or whatever, because I'd be gone. But
Yeah.
they went up through my femoral artery
Mm,
and had this little sort of, I don't know, some kind of tool that took out the clot and pulled it out.
yeah.
And I
Man.
never I really didn't know what had happened. I had this pain in my
Yeah.
just down my groin. I thought, oh God, what have they done? Have I gotten a vasectomy? Like, it's still, again, I just didn't know what had happened. And really, for the next few days, I still had no idea what had happened to me. And
Wow.
it's
And
kind of
then you
strange.
told me that you kind of came to, because you were numb, I think, all down the left side of your body. You thought that you thought something like you had died, and you were, because you could kind of feel something, but you couldn't, like
Well,
there was
and
another,
kind of leading all into this. I mean, I was
yeah,
absolutely terrified. I've never been so
yeah,
scared in my life. It was just like,
yeah,
what the hell? My brain wasn't working, my body wasn't working. And that
yeah,
was probably the most terrifying part. I
mm,
had this moment sometime through that night that I felt like my body sort of split right in half, like, because
right,
I could not feel with my right hand. I couldn't feel
yeah,
myself touching my left arm, but I knew there was something there. It was warm.
yeah,
And then I went, my God, there's a dead body lying right next to me. How did that happen?
yeah,
And
whoa,
and I sort
man.
of split. I felt like on one side of the bed there was consciousness, and then on the
Yes,
other side of the bed was this dead body, and then
right,
a
mm-hmm, wow,
and then
yeah,
something
that's,
in my head said, "The dead body's you,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
that just freaked me right out. I was like, "Oh God, what has happened?"
oh my gosh, yeah,
But somehow, I don't know. I think somehow I just sort of came back to one
yeah,
sort of person in a way, and in the middle of the bed somehow. So, but
yeah,
it was completely terrifying. It was just
yeah.
absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, I remember, a whole bunch of us came over to Victoria to see you, right, when you're in the hospital, and then there was myself and a bunch of the buddies there, and then they wheeled you out, right, and it was just like, for us, it was really really tough, because it was, we've all known each other for 50 plus years, right, and this was one of our brothers that here I go. It was really hard. It was really hard to see, you like that. But the positive thing is that, with the help of some really good doctors, and you told me a great story about the doctor the other day, actually, that you actually reconnected with her, I think, just recently, and she kind of, you kind of shared, and so you're able to kind of work your way through it, right?
Well,
And
again, I really didn't know what had happened to me, and I
yeah,
just sort of, found out all these things that apparently, they did a scan, and they had seen some damage to my artery before this, so I had no idea what I had done to it. I think I told you that I had a kind of a bad accident where I fell into a tree well,
Yes, I remember
my
that. Yeah,
helmet,
skiing.
the
Yes,
strap
yes.
pulled up on my neck,
Yeah.
and I kind of bashed my neck on a branch or something. And she said that could have been it, but it just weakened this. And but still, there's all these other things. Just
Yeah.
something genetic or something. She also said to me I could have had a vitamin deficiency or a
Weird.
spike in high blood pressure. It was just this combination of freaky things that could have happened to you. So,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and that sometimes just happens to people. It just sort of this freak of nature
Yeah.
sort of happens. So,
And then was she the surgeon that went up through and was
she
able to?
was, yes, yeah. And there's gratitude right there. I completely have thought I thank doctors who go to school for 13, 14 years and learn about stuff like this, because they can do these things for you.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't have gone to school for 14 years to become a doctor. It was just, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Oh man. Wow. Yeah, it's and then you're doing amazing. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
when we saw you in the hospital that day, I don't know if it's 2 years ago. It's probably is it 2 years ago? It's 2 years
2 years ago. Yeah.
to this point now. I mean, it's you were over in Vancouver here, and we had an outdoor beer because COVID still was kind of going on a bit here, and kind of hung out. And yeah. So you were talking about also some aha moments that you've had, because this must really kind of, in a weird way, really kind of ground you, right?
No, very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of really
it just, yeah, you're just thrown into your own mortality. And
yeah.
I think the other thing too is that it's very tough to be in a hospital and just kind of lying there, kind of, you've had a brain injury, your brain is not working quite right, your body's not working quite right, and you really are there just going, okay, what has happened, and what is my future, so you kind of you can kind of go into this place. And I didn't quite get there, but I could feel myself kind of sinking into this sort of darkness of just kind of not so much depression, just kind of terror. And I thought, how am I going to get out of this? Like, I kind of thought, how do I pull out of this? And there was a couple of things. It was weird. My daughter was there, and I needed her to hold my hand.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was as simple as that.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Small things, kind of that we think on a regular day. In a regular day, it's a small thing, but when in something like that, it's such a meaningful, thing. And the power of touch too. We don't understand the power of touch. There's people that are in a coma, all over the world, and it's just that the power of touch. And you just hold their hand, right? They in some way, they know that you're there, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, just to reach out and kind of feel somewhat normal too, that you're. But I think my other things too, and this is sort of what I wanted to talk about a lot, was just I kind of thought, okay, I have to do this kind of mind hack somehow. I have to sort of change my thinking here. I can go down this abyss, and just, you're in a hospital there, and you're plugged up to all these things, and and again, if you don't really know what happened, you're just going, where the hell? It's such a strange, surreal kind of thing to happen. And
right.
I mean, there are wonderful people in that ICU, and I think anywhere that health professionals work, they're so fantastic. But boy, you're just going, okay, where am I going from now? So I started kind of doing a couple of things, and I just started. I've been a coach for a lot of years, and I coached a lot of soccer and volleyball and basketball. I just, started to have to coach myself, and you had to kind of cheerlead yourself and go, hey, just got to be positive. You're going to get through this. You're going to do all these things. It's something, you practice with teams, and sit at halftime, if you're down 3-0 or something, you go, right. Okay, guys, you want to kind of peel into them, or you just go, hey, you know what, you guys just build on this. We got a corner kick.
Yes.
Let's go with that. So
The simple thing, right? We got a corner. Let's start with a corner
Yeah.
kick and see if we can get the corner kick in the
Yeah.
middle, and then get somebody to run in. Yeah, just a little, and then the building blocks, right? Yeah. So that's what you're doing. So you're working through that with yourself to. That's really interesting.
Well, you know, there's a really fascinating thing I saw. It was a bunch of years ago now, but it was a Japanese. I believe he was an artist actually, and he did this look at a single water molecule, and what he did was he had this molecule, and he took really microscopic pictures of it, and then what he did was he had this experiment was one molecule was bombarded with just negative, horrible things, Nazi speeches and all that stuff. And then the other was bombarded with the sounds of a Tibetan monk just blessing and positive thoughts and everything. And then you should see what had happened. So the one that had the negative, the water molecule just took on this very strange, weird shape. And the one that was the positive one just took on this sort of beautiful shape. And it just was the power of that simple water molecule, which is we're all made of.
Yes, that's right.
Was able to react to something. And it really is just, it was fascinating to look at. So
yeah, I've heard. I mean,
of course I didn't. Yeah.
That. Yeah. And it's true. It's like, it's the power, even the power of intention, the power of positive thinking, the power of, you know, and it's so much power. And Devin and I were talking about this the other day. It's like, just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Right. And it's, you know, and it's the intention and the energy and the power and, you know, the power to heal as well. Excuse me.
It is. I think it's this sort of energy that just comes out of that. You keep on hearing that again and again. And I needed to have that energy there.
Yeah. But
the second thing was that and I don't know where I kind of started doing this. I can't remember in what process it was or what part of was it maybe even that night or the next morning. I felt that I just had to be thankful for all the things in my life. And just, you know, it's weird. I was talking to someone actually just the other day who she and I worked together in this program, and her job is gone. And with COVID, she's not going to be able to do this. And she was kind of, you know, feeling kind of down. And I said, you know, maybe you just have to think that you're lucky. Just be thankful that you were in this program for the best days of it. And we went with that too. We just kind of did this kind of little hack, you know, and instead of going sort of sadness and everything, we said, you were lucky. You were part of something. And it really kind of worked out for her. So
yeah, and everything is relative. Like everything is relative. Everybody's situation is different, and you know, there could be. I mean, Reiko's been reading these books during COVID there, and a lot of them have been kind of oppression, like books about oppression, like concentration camps in the Second World War, Auschwitz, and stories of survival, and just the tiniest little thing inside there, and people being grateful for that, you know, that tiny little thing. And, you know, it's hard for us to understand, but if we were in that situation, you know, it's like, it's all relative. It's all about, you know, the situation that you're in the moment, you know, and, you know, the thankfulness and the gratefulness. Yeah. I don't know where I'm going with that, but it is true.
Right. And it's just,
right. Yeah.
And you just, you know, it's a weird thing to kind of think about, is that to be grateful and thankful when crap is going down, but it is very empowering just to go to that place and start thinking of all the things that you're thankful about. And, it just, it can lift you so much.
Yeah, because in our busy lives, like it's, you know, things are just going so fast, you know, just to sit and reflect and be thankful, even in the morning. And, you know, journaling is a really powerful thing to sit, you know, if you wake up or sometime in the morning and just journal about, you know, things that you're grateful for, you know, for 10 minutes. And it's amazing how it raises your psyche and just puts you in a really good mood, because we very, in our lives, it's funny, we very rarely sit and reflect on where we've come from and what we've been able to do. We always think of what's next. So just to stop and be thankful for what we have is extremely powerful. You're right.
Well, and I think it's one of the things I think about it too is that if you're in that place of gratitude, you're much like how it is with prayer or meditation. You're sort of at a bit of an enlightened moment, because somehow you're kind of connecting with the universe. You're not thanking a waitress or something. You're thanking for experiences and for things that have happened in your life, and people that you know, and things you've done, and it's very empowering, very I don't want to say spiritual too much, but it's just it's this connection with kind of you and the universe, and trying to be sort of this being, this enlightened being of finding a better self. So I find that is the real power of it.
Yeah. I know when you came over a couple of weeks ago here, we met down at Lonsdale Key here, and he's just like, well, I'm on a thankfulness tour.
I am.
And I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Well, and one of the things I connected with an old girlfriend.
Yes.
You remember.
Right.
And I, you know what, we went down to the beach and talked, and I said, I want to thank you, because the memories that we had together were there in that hospital.
Right.
And it was just, we had such a nice time. There was no drama when we were seeing each other. It was just really wonderful days. And and I don't know why. I just felt like I had to thank her, because I was thinking about her during that time, just kind of going, you were in my mind of one of the many things. I told her that it was just one of the many things that I was thankful of. Yeah. And I told that to my brother and my sister, who was so fantastic to me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah, you guys, all the things. I mean, I think about us growing up and everything. We really, we grew up in sort of this. I feel like it was this, again, the kind of universe. It was this sort of blip in time.
It was,
and space that really not is there too much anymore. But
no,
I think about my parents who would just kind of in the summertime go, hey, we'll see you in September, and we were just kind of on our own. We had so much fun.
Were feral.
We went to the beach. We were.
We're totally feral in the bush, down on the beach.
Yeah. There was always lots of kids, around, and we just had such a great time. And
it was funny. There was our old friend Dean Anthony. He was over on Gambier Island, I guess, the other day, because we used to go to Gambier all the time. And we used to hang out at this place and live in the field for it seemed like for months. I'm sure it was just a few days. And he was back over the other day, and he was on a boat, and he's cruising around in Center Bay. And I'm like, oh, I sent to him, I said, hey, Dean, if you're there, he's find an old water ski floating around. It's Paul's. I lost one of Paul's water skis. We were water skiing there. And if it's still floating around, could you pick it up and bring it back? So he kind of came back with a bit of a chuckle. This is like 45 years later.
Yeah, it's washed up on the beach.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was a really just beautiful place, surrounded by nature, but surrounded by, lots of kids and families. And
It totally was, actually. What?
Just a certain freedom too.
I know.
I just don't think you don't see that with kids. Oh, we're gonna have a play date, and we would just go out and
you're gone.
Just have a good time.
Kids, some parents would have whistles, right? If it was dinner time.
Oh yes, yeah.
Echo through the valley, and then you'd run home for dinner, and then the thing dinner, and then the hockey in the driveway or in the road, and car, and you move everything out of the way, the car goes by, and then you put it back, right? It was like that. Yeah, we live quite a ways out. But actually I've got a couple of let's see if I've got some stuff here. I just thought I'd grab and surprise you on. So I think you've got this photo.
Look at the hair. I do have that. Yeah.
This is a photo of Paul and myself and all of our friends on our soccer team back. We were in high school here. I think this was.
We were, yeah.
11 or 12 or something here, but so this is kind of like some of the stuff. Oh, how do I? And then I just got to share a story. Paul's, you've been a real you've been an inspiration to me for forever. You're always a really good, a soccer player, and and everything. And then just a few years ago, you kind of called me up and you kind of challenged me to go with you and be on like a team of two, you and me, in this thing called Mind Over Mountain Adventure Race, right? And there was a kayaking component, there's a mountain biking component, and then there's a bush running orienteering component. And I'm like, oh my God, Paul, like we're 50 something here. We'll be the oldest guys there. And so I said, yeah, okay, let's go. So we went. And I got to tell you, I had like, it's probably one of the funnest times I've had in my life, like working together and working through it. And, we thought, hey, if we finish, it's great. If we finish, we're happy, happy, happy. We'll go to the beer garden and have a beer.
And I believe like we set the bar so low. And the first time
I know,
I think I said, I want to finish this right without pooing my pants.
Yeah,
that's right. The next year we did, I said, I just want to finish it.
That's
and
right.
then the next year we kind of wanted to be in the top 3 of our age group or something, which I think we did. There's only 2 other people in our age group.
2 other guys in the age group. I know. But the funny thing is I think I don't know if it was the first year, like we looked at you went and looked at the time board for the whole race, right? You looked at it. I think we finished in the middle of the pack or something. And we're looking at this can't be right. This can't be right. These people are on their 30s or whatever. And we fit like, it was really funny. And we called ourselves, the Pineapple Express. So we dressed it with Hawaiian leis and Hawaiian shirts and stuff. And we did some mountain biking stuff. And we got lost in the last race we did. We actually got lost, right? We ended up on the expert or the pro course or something. But there was funny because we're like, I don't know how many hours into this thing, and we're really
like 5.5 hours,
like
I think.
5 something hours, 5.5, 6 hours, whatever it was. And we're coming back into this town and we're running down the road and we're both really, really thirsty. And Paul's like, hey man, let's duck into this like little quickie mart or whatever it is and get something to eat. And I'm like, what? We're running in a race. He goes, it's okay. So we go in, we buy a couple of chocolate milks. Here's a good picture of us in the store. I don't know how we took this, but we and then we ran back out, got back into
race. Yeah. It was kind of a mid-race break there. It
was a mid-race.
And the guy said something like, aren't you in a race? We're gonna, yeah. Just don't bug us. We need chocolate milk. We're old men. We need this chocolate milk now.
Chocolate milk.
And I think he gave us a real boost because
It did. Yeah. It was really good. And then, we talk about our buddies in here and heading off to your place on Valdez Island. So it's, just, we're just so fortunate to have a group of friends that we've been super, super tight with for 50 something years, right?
Which is very, very rare,
Yeah.
You talk to people, no, I don't see anyone that I know.
I know.
And it's, I don't know if it's sad or something, but I think it's quite special actually, because when I tell people, I've known these guys, some of them since like kindergarten.
Yeah.
Tim Salisbury, I used to play baseball with him when we were like 8 years old.
Yeah. That's right. Oh my gosh. And there's Todd poking his finger at us here.
Oh, that was, I think that was one of my favorite trips ever.
Yeah, me too.
That is such a beautiful area he lives in. And you're going up there. I'm so jealous.
I
want to join the Bennett family and come along. I can be I can be your Cato.
We got the whole family.
I'll carry all your bags and everything if you want. I'm just jealous you're going up there to see Todd again. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was such a magical.
Yeah, Dylan, you are lucky because it's just a gorgeous spot. And
stoked.
I know.
Yeah.
I had to throw it. I found one with Magoo here, so there's one with Magoo too in the front. This is a few years back with a bunch of us, and it's
much less hair than his soccer days there.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, so I just had to throw a couple of photos on there for you just to kind of shock you. Yeah. So it's and you talked. It's kind of an interesting thing, and I've been seeing it a little bit more and more now. Is that people that have life-threatening events? It could be cancer, it could be a stroke, it could be an accident or something. They come out of it on the other side. I gotta say, almost a little bit kind of enlightened in a different way, and very, like you said, very grateful. And then I've noticed with some of my friends that I know now, have come out, and it's just like, I want to live every single day. I want to live in the moment, and I want to appreciate everything that I've got. And which is really, it's unique, and it seems to be, unfortunately unique to people that have had, life changing events like that. So yeah, I don't know if you want to share anything on that, or how you're like,
Well, I think,
yeah.
it's sort of my new thing now is very much, I meditate every day. I've just sort of really discovered that, and it's quite a wonderful thing to do. It's a hard thing to master,
Yes.
but it is really fantastic. And then what I also do, and this is kind of what I was going to share with you, is every day
Mhm.
I have what I call my moment of gratitude, and I often do it twice a day. I'll sort of do it in the evening. My family does this little things of highs and lows of the day and stuff, and that's always a very nice thing to share with your family.
Yeah.
But really,
Yeah.
my moment of gratitude every morning is just, again, it's something. It's like a prayer in a way. You have, and you go to this, and of course you thank your family and your partner and all those people in life. But I found that what I've been trying to do is that I kind of switch it up. I feel what I try and do is I kind of go my theme for gratitude this week, and I try and hit that because it sort of reinforces all these different things. And like, when I was thinking, we talked about soccer. I mean, it's been
Yes.
so great watching this Euro 2021.
Right.
And
Yeah.
one of my themes for the week of gratitude was just the game of soccer. I played it since I was a long time. I was very lucky. I've traveled around. I remember playing in pickup soccer
Yes.
in Japan with a bunch of Iranian guys, and I
Yeah.
was thinking that there's something that if I was a fencer or
Yeah.
a rhythmic gymnastic, I couldn't do something like that. I think, I remember playing soccer in Egypt. It was boiling hot, but these guys, I saw them in a game and I said, "Hey, can I join you?" And again, it was just a cultural thing that is around the world. I played in Austria too with a bunch of guys, and
Yeah, that's fantastic.
yeah. So that was just, again, one of my little themes, and I try and do that just every week, and every morning I have. So what did I have this last week? One of the things I've really discovered is I'm a bit of a birder now. I love birds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Sure.
I just do this moment of thank, the universe for giving us birds, because they're just such beautiful things to watch. And I was out last night. There's a kind of a cool little park. We took the dog out there, and there's this hawk that just flew over us.
Yeah.
And I'm just like a little kid staring at this thing. I absolutely love it. And I just think, okay, there's my theme of the week is just birds, thanking the universe for giving us birds. And
Yeah, it was funny when you were talking, like at the beginning of this, I'm looking right out the window there. There was this bird, and it sat on this little branch there, and he was like bright yellow. And I thought, he looks like a little mini parrot or something, but we don't have those here. I was trying to concentrate on what you were saying, but I was staring at him right here just like a few minutes ago. It was like the coolest little bird. And actually, like you and your birds, like Reiko and I, like during the COVID thing, we would do lots of hikes, right? We kind of spend lots of time in nature, and nature is just kind of really helping and cleansing and really good. But we got into mushrooms. Just looking at all the different types of mushrooms. We bought mushroom books, and then we started harvesting mushrooms. And there's chanterelles, and then there's the one of the Japanese ones, Dev, the pine mushrooms. So up at Whistler, we were up at Whistler, and we were hiking. We had our little stash, and we'd go and we'd go, okay, we know where those are. Like, just don't tell. And that's why mushroomers, they don't talk about where the mushrooms are, right? Because you never talk about where, because that's where the stash is. So we'd have our little secret spot, and we'd go check, and there'd be these little pine, because they're underground. And so it's this, but it's almost like things like that, like birding and meditation, and even like mushrooming. And then Devin, you're big into gardening. Like I never thought in my wildest dreams that Devin would be into garden. Like your garden, man, your garden is unbelievable.
Thanks.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's just it's like it's another thing, on the same route as your meditation or your bird watching or you're picking mushrooms, but it's watching something grow and spending time just to be, the plants grow and they grow slow and some of them grow faster, but it's that time you get to spend with them and tend to them and take care and nurture. It's kind of like just taking care of yourself at the end of the day as much as taking care of this garden. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, like I love like he does these Snapchats and like he walks around his garden and he shows us these little succulents and then he'll show the one that you had the other day with the leaves like they were all like you looked straight down at the angle that you shot. It was just like it's just waiting to pop. You just
Yeah,
can
those are the
feel its weight.
marigolds. Yeah.
Marigold. It's just like whoa, I've never
Yeah.
I don't know looked at it
And
like
it's
that.
cool because it's just like one flower will flower and grow and then die. And then if you cut it off, more babies will basically appear. So it's like with this life, with this death becomes life. And it's just a circle and it just will carry on. And it's like with perennial plants too, it's like they'll last for literally ever if you keep them alive. They'll outlive all of us, right? There's
Mm,
trees that are thousands of years old, it's all kind of it's kind of
yeah.
cool. It shows you this little blip of what you're kind of talking about before, guys. This little blip of
Yeah.
life that we get to be here for, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not all that long. So
And I think just circling back to that, just kind of
Mhm.
incorporating that into your day, saying, I'm
Mhm.
so thankful that this is something I can enjoy and something, just something that you have is just it's brought to
Absolutely.
you and it gives you joy.
Absolutely.
There's a really great little book and it's called A Thousand Awesome Things. I'm trying to remember what his name is. I can't say his last name. Neil Parsich, I think. And
Hmm.
it's the coolest little book. It's just he talks about 1,000 things that are just awesome. Like, and
Wow.
it's really nice. It's just all this, and it's like what does he talk about? It's a wide range of like donuts.
Right. Yeah.
Just this
Yeah.
awesome
Especially
thing is
donuts.
donuts. Yeah. Um,
That's
Kids selling lemonade stands. Just it's this wide
sure. Yeah.
variety of things.
Yeah.
And I really kind of, when I think about it, I think those are awesome things, but I think they're also things to just be thankful for. You just kind of go,
Mm.
hey,
Yeah.
this is so great to have. They're awesome, but you just have to thank the
Mhm.
universe for
Yeah.
bringing those things.
And to slow down and enjoy it, because we're always in such a
Oh, I
rush,
know.
it's like we're rushing just to slow down and enjoy. And we see kids at their lemonade stand all the time. It's just like, oh, I don't have it.
Yeah,
But maybe just stop and have a
it
look,
is just wonderful. It's something to be thankful
right?
for.
It is. Yeah. There's like talking about thankfulness and gratefulness. I mentioned before this, there's this gentleman that I saw speak. His name's Brother David, and
You're telling me, yeah, yeah.
He's a Benedictine monk, and he's 95. He had his birthday last week. I think he's 95 years old. And I go to this conclave of entrepreneurs in Boston every year that I always talk about. And he was one of these speakers. He came in and he talked about gratefulness. And he has an institute called I think it's gratefulness.org. That's his whole thing. And he just basically talks about gratefulness his whole life. He was born Austrian Jew during the Second World War. He was grabbed by the Nazis and forced to fight for the Nazis. And he basically escaped, and his whole life survival thing is just a ridiculous story. And all he talks about is gratefulness, how grateful that he is that he was able to survive. And so he's it's definitely something. He has some really nice, just beautiful videos. He was a speaker, and then we all went for dinner afterwards, and he was there, and he just has this, how some people have this presence. They just have this presence, right? And I went up to him, and I mentioned to you guys, I said that I just asked him if I could give him a big hug. And
Yeah.
he just put out his arms, and I hugged him, and I started crying and shaking like a baby. And I just said, I am so thankful. I am so thankful for, my family and this and that, but I just don't, express it enough or whatever. And I was hanging on to him, shaking and crying, and everything just came out. And he says, it's okay. It's okay. Just, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, what you're talking about here with, the gratefulness and the thankfulness, and there are so many birds, guys, right now. I don't know if you conjured this up, Paul, but it's outside our place. Like oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Well,
Sorry.
just talking about this guy here, I mean, it is amazing that he's incorporated that into his life. And because, yeah, I mean, crap goes down in your life. And if you can just do this little hack that
Yes.
you're grateful about all the things that you have, or you do have, or that you've had before,
Yeah.
it just can, yeah, it can change everything. It's just you're changing your perception about things. And again, as I said, it's very much this sort of connection with, and I just want to say, the universe. You're just sort of
Mhm.
connecting yourself to a higher way of thinking.
Yeah, exactly. There goes the cat. There's birds and cats now walking.
There
across.
goes.
Oh man. Well, that's awesome, Paul. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. Like, it means a lot to me and to Devin for you to, to be, to brave enough, like to share your story here. And because that phone call that, I got from your daughter when it was just like, my heart stopped, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really, really tough for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was really tough. And just to know that there was a lot of love out there for you, a lot of love, like a lot of people
Yeah.
sending if there's anything, positive energy, whatever it is, hopefully that helped a little bit, get you to where you are now. And it's just,
Well, I think if I
there's a
ever
lot of
have,
people.
people that I know that something kind of, like I said, I was talking to a friend of mine who basically lost her job and ended her career with, really COVID kind of knocked her career down, because there are no international students out there anymore. She worked in this program for a long time. She had, and as I said, I so enjoyed working with you. We had lots of laughs. I think we were there in the best times.
Right.
And yet, I know you feel sad, but just feel grateful, feel thankful that you had this.
Right.
And it'll just change. And I think she then started talking about, yeah, like I really just changed my whole way of thinking about that when we talked about just gratitude. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. Okay, I guess it's that's a good one to wrap on, I think. Hey, Dev, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll wrap
Paul?
it up there.
Yeah. No, just thanks so much. And, thank you so much for, talking. And it's just been fantastic. And we all love you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we'll see you next weekend because you're coming over.
I am, yes. Yeah. Come on, we'll go to this Van Gogh thing, Nigel. We'll hold hands.
Yeah,
as we
right.
walk through
Yeah,
it.
that's right. That's right.
Sounds
I'm
like
on
a
it.
time.
I'm on it. Be great. Okay. All right, Dev, I guess.
And yeah,
Paul,
Deb, good
anything
luck
else?
with the garden there. There's lots. I know my wife gets lots of joy out of her garden, and
Thank you. Absolutely.
yeah, you can grow so many different things. So
Yeah.
and have you know what? As I said, you guys, I'm jealous you're going up to it's so gorgeous up there, and
I
Todd
know.
and his wife are quite.
I know, they're awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Todd just loves fishing, and it's quite beautiful actually just to see him. I always have this vision in my mind as we're chasing salmon
Yes.
with our camera, and there's our friend Todd just fly fishing right there. And I thought, there is a guy that is doing exactly what he wants in his life, and
Exactly.
it's
and
he
has
did that,
since
and has
high
for
school.
many years. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's it's like, yeah, I reflect on that too. Like, he left and he went up there and he found the best river for fishing steelhead salmon in the world, or North America, and that's where he's been. And he's been a fishing guide and an amazing woodworker, an incredible woodworker.
I'm so
and
stoked.
kind of living, we're just so excited to go, and he's excited, and his son's coming along. Actually, his son's coming along. He's bringing a buddy too, so there's going to be a whole crew of us floating the river.
The Racket. Remember, that's the name of his son's
The
band. It's such a
Racket
great name.
Yeah, the
cool.
Racket. Awesome name. The Racket is the band. Yeah. So check it out,
Stoked.
everybody.
So stoked.
Check out the Racket on Spotify, and then everything in it. Yeah, and like Dev could wrap it up here.
Yeah, that'll be the wrap up to our show. Thank you so much, Paul, for being on the show. If you guys want to know more, we'll put some links in the description of what's going on. We'll have to have you back on at some point. Other than that, thank you so much for being here. So grateful again to have you here.
Exactly.
Have you on the show.
You guys.
To be doing this with my dad, and amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Nigel. So good to talk to you guys. And
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I got to go feed my dog there.